Thank you for coming to the talk tonight. This is actually my first hemp educational talk. And I'm first going to tell you a little bit about myself and my background and what brought me to the hemp. I've been in the health industry about 20 years. And my background is nutrition. I'm also an herbalist and sort of a Jill of all trades as far as the health field. Probably about 10 years ago, I first heard about hemp because it actually started to be legally grown in Canada about 13 years ago. And I was working at the organic grocer, and the first product, you're probably very familiar with, Vega, made by Sequel, came out. And I was waiting for a product like that, something that was whole food, organic, raw, and of course it had hemp in it, so I was a big promoter of that. Then I think, around the same time, then a company by the name of Living Harvest actually came out with a protein powder, which I started taking myself and absolutely loved. And you have to remember, prior to that, all we had was soya and we had whey protein powder. So then about 4.5 years ago, I left the health industry and was offered a job to run a hemp company, which was kind of interesting because I'd never ran a company before. And it was, a real learning curve. And so I ran a hemp processing company. So we actually, pardon me? It was in Burnaby, yes. And so we had a facility out in Manitoba. We actually had a facility in Manitoba and Saskatchewan because we did protein and nut and oil and all that. So it was a real learning curve. I got to talk to farmers and kind of go learn about the other side of the industry. And of course, through the process, learned a lot about hemp. And so then and while I managed that company, we actually launched the second, we weren't the first, but the second company to launch hemp milk. That was Living Harvest Hemp Milk. So that was really exciting. And then I started working with Charles Chang, the owner of Sequel, and helped him to launch the first hemp oil using antioxidants, which I actually have here, and you'll see it, and it's on my PowerPoint. And that has now become the best green oil in North America. And it's 75% hemp oil and 25% antioxidants, okay? So, and then I helped Charles launch the whole food bar. I don't know if you've seen that, and that's using the hemp nut and protein powder. So anyways, so that was, a lot of fun. And then about just over 2.5 years ago, I decided to go out on my own and start my own business, which brings me to Hemp for Life. So basically what my business is I sell, and I work with actually the largest hemp processor, bulk hemp processor in North America. The company is called Hemp Oil Canada. And this company's been going 13 years. We have very good relationships with our farmers that we've had for many, many years. And we have an incredible processing facility. We're actually going to be putting in an in-site lab. And we just did an expansion, just to give you an idea of where hemp is going. We just did a $2 million expansion and are going to be able to go from 30,000 pounds a month of hemp protein powder. We can now do up to 300,000 pounds a month. So we actually sell international around the world. And so my companies and customers that I deal with are varied from, of course, a lot of people in the food industry to skin and body care and many things. So, but again, as I said, my background is nutrition. So the big thing for me was looking at the nutritional side of hemp. And so I've spent, 4.5 years studying the nutritional benefits and qualities of hemp, and seeing it with clients, seeing it with even things like horses. We have high-end racehorses in Canada and the US using hemp oil now for about 4 years with very, very good results. So it's quite amazing. So part of my business when I started it, which has been even working in the health industry when I used to manage the organic grocer, my key thing was education. Because when people become educated about things, then they will use them, and the key is learning about it, right? And so when I started the company, I thought, at some point in, with my business, I want to do what I'm doing tonight, and that is create an educational video to educate people about hemp, because there's nobody really in North America doing this. And it was something Charles Chang talked about. He said, we need someone to educate people. So I thought, well, the time is now. I've learned quite a bit, not to say I know everything. And if you do have any questions, the people I work with at Hemp Oil Canada, one of the head people there, her name is Andrea Herman, and she is, I would say, probably the world's leading expert on hemp. She's an agronomist, knows everything you need to know about seeds and breeding and growing and you name it. And she travels all over the world, and she's a wonderful person. So as I say, if you want to know more, So I'm going to start with my PowerPoint presentation, and as I say, it's educational in nature, particularly about the nutritional value of hemp, a little bit about the history, and when I'm done, just to let you know, I have made some hemp muffins here, and I also have some hemp protein shake I've made that you can try after, and I also have some handouts I'll give you. One is an article that I wrote about how hemp helps to build up your immune system, and also just one on the different benefits of hemp. Okay? So bear with me, I had a remote and I didn't know how to use it, so I'm going to have to do the whole just finger pushing thing and pray that it works. So here we go. This is, again, Hemp for Life is my logo. And I want to mention why I designed it like that, because in my study what I discovered is hemp has actually been eaten by people all over the world for at least over 8,000 years. They've gone back as far as finding like rope and things like 12,000 years ago. But they say even the Buddha ate a handful of seeds a day. I am Métis, and one of my adoptive family members in the Shuswap Nation, they've been eating hemp seed for who knows hundreds of years too. So it has been eaten, and that's what I'm going to mostly focus on tonight, because I could probably spend 5 hours talking about all the uses of hemp, and I really won't go into that tonight. We're just going to stick with the seed, which is the food. Okay, and as you can see that picture, that's one of our farms. This is a quote that I found a few years ago, actually in the Bible. Let thy fruit be thy meat and thy herb be thy medicine. Now, I may be wrong, but I've talked to different experts, and I believe they're talking about hemp. And you'll see why, because the hemp seed is actually a fruit, but it's also the highest source of plant protein. So when they're saying, let thy fruit be thy meat, I'm making the assumption that that is probably what they're talking about. As they say, hemp has a long history, okay? Now, a little bit again about the history of hemp. Hemp cultivation is as old as the history of civilization. In North America, hemp was a crucial crop during the colonial period, and it continued to be produced right up into and through the Second World War. A combination of regulatory pressures and changing public perceptions around drug use led to the disappearance in domestic hemp cultivation in North America in the years following World War II. As I say, the history of it is very interesting, because the uses, I mean, people don't know. I mean, for example, the first car was run on hemp oil. Henry Ford's first car was run on hemp oil. The American Constitution was written on and made on hemp paper. And there was hemp rope and on and on. So it has quite a long history. Again, I'm going to focus on Canada. So in 1998, Canada joined the large international community of hemp producers by permitting the production of industrial hemp. Under a carefully monitored regulatory process, while the growth of the Canadian industrial hemp sector over the past decade has been uneven and at times fraught with challenges, as would be expected from a fledgling industry, there is a considerable cause for optimism. Well, here we are in 2011, and Canada not only has set the standard for industrial hemp in the world, but people look to us, to Canada, to get their industrial hemp seed from, okay, as a food. In places like Europe, their focus is the fiber, okay? It's a different plant, and that's what they make clothing and paper and things like that out of. In Canada, our focus so far has been the seed for food, okay? Now again, here I've just put some benefits of growing hemp. Pest resistant, you may not know that it's a plant that really doesn't need any pesticides. It's a very hardy plant. Weed suppression, elimination of pesticides, so you don't need any pesticides to grow hemp. Pollen isolation, again, non-GMO. Soil improvement and crop rotation. They've also found that you can actually grow hemp consecutively. With a lot of crops you can't do that, but you actually can with hemp. And the big thing I like on the bottom is phytoremediation, which not all plants do that, but hemp does. What phytoremediation means is it actually pulls toxins and heavy metals out of the soil. Now, again, you may not know this, but in North America, a lot of our topsoil is contaminated with heavy metals from commercial farming, pesticides and fertilizers, okay? No, because the soil that the hemp we use is organic, so the soil is clean, doesn't have heavy metals. But I'm talking where a lot of the commercial farms are, it is contaminated. So again, I wanted to show a little bit about the harvesting. So again, I want to clarify, the seed that we are using in Canada is called industrial hemp seed, okay? So that's the seed for food, okay? Again, amazing plant, and you may or may not know this, it takes only 160 days to grow. And there's a lot of different breeding programs going on, and they're developing seeds right now that can actually get 2 crops a year instead of one. They're also developing seeds that yield a higher oil content and other things like that. So there's a lot of interesting things going on. Again, extremely hardy plant that it can tolerate freezing. And I wanted to mention on the bottom that most of the organic hemp that our farmers grow is in Saskatchewan. Now here we have some of the hemp uses, which again I talked about a few of them. We have on the top, of course, the food, paper products, clothing, livestock feed. Even there's homes made of something called hempcrete. Hemp does not mold, doesn't mildew, and doesn't rot, so that's why it's good for homes, medicines, essential oils, and even, of course, nutritional supplements. Okay? Now, what I wanted to talk about was the difference between industrial hemp. The Latin name is Cannabis sativa L. So that's the food, okay? And then we have, of course, marijuana, cannabis indica. Now, the difference is, and I'll just read this first. Hemp is a dichotomous plant, meaning it needs a male and female. Okay, now, when you have just a female plant, she gets stressed out because she doesn't have the male, and she creates THC. Okay, so the more stressed out she gets, the more THC she creates. Once you put the male plant with her, the THC levels go down. So what they found was by putting those seeds together, it actually took 7 years of breeding, putting the male and female together to get the TH down to pretty much, as you can see, 0.00010. I mean, it's very, very low. There's like pretty much nothing in there compared to the female other plant is 5 to 20% THC. Okay, so there is pretty much no THC in the industrial hemp seed. So as a medicine, it's been used for thousands of years. It actually is used for many medicinal things too. Yeah, okay, so here's the industrial hemp seed, and I'd like to show you what it looks like. This is actually what hemp seed looks like, okay? And this is a toasted seed that we sell here. It's slightly toasted, but that's what the hemp seed looks like. Again, the whole hemp seed contains approximately 25% protein, 31% fat in the form of a nutritious oil, of course, and 34% carbohydrates, in addition to an interesting array of vitamins and minerals. So as you can see, it's a food that's very balanced with the protein, the fat, and carbohydrates, okay? So again, we have different varieties across Canada grown: Finola, USO, Felina, Elisa, Crag. We use the Finola for our hulled seeds. Now, how is hemp processed? Again, the way we process hemp, there is no heat, and it's cold pressed, okay? So it is kept live and raw, okay? We have 2 machines when we make the hemp products. The first machine is one where we actually crush the seed, and out of one side comes the oil, and out of the other side comes a cake. And that cake gets put into another machine that gets milled into protein powder. So we have the hemp seed, and then a cake, and then we get it milled, and this is the protein powder, okay? And you can see the lovely green color, which is the chlorophyll in there, okay? And then, as I said, yeah, the oil comes out the other side. Then we have another machine where we press the seeds to make what a lot of people know about, because it's very popular, is the dehulled hemp seed, which people are calling nut or heart, okay? But I'm trying to get away from the nut thing, because people think it's a nut. And if they have nut allergies, and it's not, it's a seed, right? It's just someone kind of came up with that. So it's actually dehulled seed, okay? Again, there's just a picture of one of our machines. This is a machine that does to make the cake and the oil, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go into the health benefits of hemp. So again, we have it's 100% certified organic. The line that we carry, this is it here called the Good Seed, okay? And Hemp Oil Canada was one of the first processors to go just organic. We do have some conventional, but mostly we're all organic, which is a good thing. Again, it's a raw food, okay? So raw meaning it's live, right? It's going to have enzymes and different things. It's vegetarian, of course. Gluten-free is a big thing. So we have a lot of people that have gluten allergies and can't have wheat and even things like spelt and kamut. Well, hemp, we have actually produced a hemp flour. It's a little bit lighter than this, and that is to make things like muffins and breads and stuff. Again, non-GMO, dairy-free, again, very, very alkaline and very good at boosting the immune system, and I'll explain as we go along a little more, okay? Again, variety of hemp food products we have, and I have most of them up here. So we have the protein powder, which is, I don't have an actual container, but this is a harmonized veggie protein. It's not just hemp, it has other like rice protein in it too. But so made into protein powder, and actually here's our plain. This is just a plain hemp protein powder, okay? And then we have the dehulled seeds, which are these ones here. And you can see the different uses. If you know anybody that has a dairy allergy, which a lot of people do today, and they're buying rice or almond milk, which is great, you can make your own hemp milk. It's super easy to make. And that's just taking some of the dehulled seeds and putting in with water. And you put about 2 tablespoons per cup, and it makes a really nice non-dairy milk. You could add vanilla to it or whatever you'd like.
You mean it dissolves?
Yes, in a blend. You have to do it in a blender though. You need a blender. Yeah, okay. And you can make a milk. The toasted seeds, which are fairly new, and they're new, we're the first people to actually sell toasted seeds. So these are actually the seeds slightly toasted enough so that they don't germinate. But they can be used for many things. Eaten alone, they taste like sunflower seeds. You can try some after. They're very, very tasty. And then, of course, our hemp oil, which can be used for different things. As you can see, salads, I put it in the shake. Even stir fries, and I'll mention why. Someone's probably going to say, well, how can you heat it? But as we go along in the presentation, you'll see that there's actually been studies done in Europe that hemp can tolerate heat. It can tolerate heat just like olive oil. We didn't know that. We thought it was very fragile, like flax, and it's not at all. Very hardy. Again, roasted seeds. So these are a new thing for us too. And so these are actually the seeds roasted. So people can grind them up, put them in their coffee or non-dairy drinks, non-decaffeinated. And then also, of course, the hemp flour used for bread and muffins. So I just want to show you, these are some of the companies that carry the hemp. The Vega Greens is all vegan, of course, and has a hemp protein in it. And they also have a lovely, this is the one I showed you here, the harmonized vegan protein. And then I wanted to show you also what I was talking about earlier, the Sequel EFA oil blend. So this is, again, 75% organic hemp oil, and then it has some really amazing antioxidants like pomegranates and a whole bunch of really good things in there. Okay. And then we have the dehulled hemp seeds, which again are in things like the Vega bars and also protein powders in those too. Okay, so hemp nuts, again, are the hemp seeds that have been dehulled. As the hemp hull fraction contains significant fiber, removal of the dilution effect of the hull from the hemp seed yields a product that is enriched in fat and protein. Indeed, that is a case. So again, when we actually take the seed and press it, we're left with this, and it's actually we'll call it nut, is actually 1.5 times higher amount of fat and protein. So we're taking out the fiber, but you're left with something that's got a higher protein and fat content. So again, many good nutritional uses there.
Sprinkled.
Oh yes, yes, salads. You can put it on your yogurt in the morning. Usually I put it on top of my muffins, but I forgot tonight to put them on. I sprinkle them on top. Then again, we have the toasted hemp seeds that again can be used for many things. Even people, you can mix them with seeds and nuts, or even grind them up and sprinkle it onto different foods. So yeah, lots of good things with the toasted hemp seed. And then again, there's a roasted that I talked about that can be ground up and added to coffee. We actually do make a hemp coffee. I didn't bring it tonight. We actually have a product that is organic coffee ground up with the ground up roasted hemp seeds that we put together. Yeah. So let's talk about the nutritional components of hemp, because that's why we're here tonight, and that's what I want to get across to people, because you know, a lot of people just do not realize how nutritious it is. So first we're going to start, again, it's one of the highest plant proteins next to soya, okay? Of course, it has the essential fatty acids. I'm going to go through these, but in my next slides, I'm going to go through each one more in depth. Again, a great source of essential fatty acids. Again, a source of complex carbohydrates, vitamins and minerals, antioxidants. Again, has both insoluble and soluble fibers. And that is found more in, of course, the seed and the protein. And again, as I said, balanced protein, fat, and fiber. Okay, so the highest source of plant protein, it is next to soya. It contains the 18 key amino acids, including the 10 essential amino acids that, again, our body can't make. The total protein content of hemp seed is about 65% of the globular protein edestin, okay, which closely resembles the globulin found in human blood plasma. Again, very unique with this plant. You don't find this with other plants, okay? So just to give you an example, when you eat animal protein, like meat, your body's able to absorb about 25% of that protein. When you eat something like hemp, it absorbs all of the protein, okay? It is easily digested, absorbed, and utilized by humans and vital to maintaining a healthy immune system. Again, the edestin, again, the globular protein, has a unique ability to stimulate the manufacture of antibodies, okay? Antibodies are immunoglobulins which protect against bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens. So again, these antibodies fight against invasion agents, and they're saying about the hemp being nearly phosphorus-free, which is important for kidney ailments. But again, so just how important it is at boosting up the immune system, okay? Again, I'm going to continue with this about the protein. The other protein that's found in there is the albumin, which is 35% found in the hemp seed. Again, is highly digestible protein because of its globular shape. Albumin is a major free radical scavenger and is similar to the high-quality protein found in egg whites. Another important aspect, this is a big one for children, is the hemp protein is a high amount of the amino acids arginine and histidine, which are important for growing children. Okay, so again, with children, if they have a little hemp shake or whatever every day or every second day, would be very, very valuable. Again, I want to talk a little bit more about the arginine. Again, serves as a dietary precursor for the formation of nitric acid, a potent mediator of vascular tone, and therefore may have implications for the health of the cardiovascular system. So additionally, arginine specifically has been linked to optimal function and to muscle repair, okay? It also contains methionine and cysteine, which are aminos which are great for enzyme production, okay? Also your branched chain amino acids, which are important for the metabolism of exercising muscle, okay? And again, what I mentioned earlier was when you ingest the hemp protein, your body is able to absorb all of the protein and utilize it versus meat, which it's only absorbing about 25. The next wonderful thing is the oil, okay, the hemp oil. Many people just don't realize how amazing hemp oil is. And I wanted to put that first quote in there from Udo Erasmus. I'm sure most of you have heard of Udo's oil. And it took him many years to take about 6 different oils and put them together to become balanced. Hemp oil is already balanced. And he says that in his book, the most perfectly balanced natural EFA-rich oil is hemp. Okay, so think about that. You don't need all these oils put together. It already is balanced, okay? The oil contained in the hemp seeds are 75 to 80% polyunsaturated fats, fatty acids, which are the good fats, okay? And again, a unique combination of EFAs. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. And again, very balanced, again, of the 3, 6, and GLA. Now, I'm not sure if you know what GLA is, but GLA is gamma-linolenic acid, which is found mostly in high amounts in primrose and borage, again, which is a plant and an oil that's very good for women going through PMS and menopause. And so this is already naturally found in the hemp oil. Now, when I say about it being balanced, it's also very stable, meaning that it can tolerate, and you'll see as we go along, can tolerate things like freezing and heating, which again, with things like flax, you cannot do that. Why? Because flax is not a balanced oil. It's higher in the omega-3, but because it's not balanced, if you know with hemp, you can't keep it on the counter for more than a few hours. You can't have it sit out, like we have our hemp oil sitting on a shelf there, because unopened it's good for like 3 years. It's like olive oil, okay? But again, it's because hemp is stable, okay? That's what makes it a strong plant. Here I just mentioned this was a study that came out, actually it was about 2 years, or 1998, I didn't realize that, where they actually heated hemp oil and found that it tolerates heat. I mean, you wouldn't want to fry with it. I'm talking more sauté, like something like olive oil, okay? So it doesn't denature it doesn't break it down, and that's something new. People didn't know that before, okay? Again, a great source of vitamins and minerals, a great source of iron, so again for women or in children, great source of magnesium. Now magnesium, I don't know if you know this, it's one of the top 3 most important minerals that the body needs. Magnesium is important for bone formation, for the heart, and a lot of people today are deficient in magnesium. How do we know? Because people get leg cramps, twitching eyes, and they can't sleep at night. And it's a phenomenon that I have seen mostly in the last 5 years, and I believe a lot of it's contributed to a lot of people drinking bottled water, because we're not getting the minerals anymore, and a lot of the minerals have been taken out of the water. Because, like I say, a lot of people are deficient in magnesium, and a lot of people have way too much calcium in their bodies, you know, because all the cow's milk and all the calcium supplements. But anyways, and manganese, also high in beta carotene. That's your provitamin A. Again, that's an antioxidant. And then we have vitamin E. Now it's very high, hemp is very high in vitamin E. And vitamin E acts as an antioxidant for the plant itself to protect it from free radical damage, okay? And I'll go into greater detail about when I go into different ailments about the vitamin E. Also, a wonderful source of the B vitamins, okay? So again, for people with, you know, stress and depression and that kind of thing, but high in Bs, and of course, different trace minerals, okay? Now, another interesting thing that I didn't know, which surprised me, was the high amounts of phytosterols, which are plant sterols. Now, we sell those here, again, for boosting up the immune system. What I didn't know is that hemp has a high amount of these plant sterols. Also, what I learned is that the plants actually have, it's like a type of cholesterol, just like humans have, but it's found in plants. But it actually, as you can see, if we read this, phytosterols stop or slow absorption of dietary cholesterol and cholesterol made by the liver. Phytosterols may actually reduce the likelihood of arteriosclerosis development in healthy individuals. Several studies have indicated that up to 2 grams of phytosterols per day can lower low-density lipoproteins by 10%. Okay? And again, what I should have said at the very beginning of my talk, because I do talks on nutrition, I've been doing it for many, many years, is my big motto is food is our medicine. So again, just letting you know that hemp is a medicine, just like many other foods, right? So
how much can you take? What would be the minimum versus maximum you can take per day?
Well, it's like saying how many apples should you eat in a day? 1 a day. You can eat more, so right? It's a food. So when I get further in the presentation, I've actually broken down exactly, that's a great question, okay? Another thing I wanted to mention, and it may not seem important, but it is important because, you know, it wasn't many years ago when you brought out green stuff, people like just shied away. Oh, I don't want anything green. Now, thank goodness, because I've been praying that people would realize green is good. That's chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is produced from the sun, right? Through photosynthesis. And as human beings, it's very, very important to have green foods. Why? Because chlorophyll helps to draw oxygen into all of your cells. Okay, makes the body alkaline, okay? Now, there is a fellow out there, I'm not going to mention his name, who makes a hemp oil and refines it, and it's bright yellow. And this was quite a few years ago, and he put out all this information saying that, oh, you don't want the green. It's no good. And actually, I have a friend, a chemist, who did a study on some refined hemp oil, and then our organic, it was like night and day. The refined stuff was pretty much dead, but the raw organic hemp oil, the chlorophyll, he was just blown away by you know, how good it was. So again, you'll notice with all of our products, everything is green, and that's the way nature intended it. Not to change the color, green is good, okay? And it's also for the blood too. Now, I just want to mention on the bottom there, someone years ago said to me that they've actually done studies, I didn't even know this could be done. They can study green plants and find out which plants have the highest photon energy, which is again, what it's getting from the sun. Guess what? Hemp has the highest photon energy of any plant on the planet. That's why my logo is, in times of darkness, hemp reappears to bring light to the world. That's why I said that. I created that tagline, because we are moving, they say, into more of a, I'm not going to get into a spiritual story here, but they say we're moving into, I pray and I hope, a more peaceful world. And they say when we eat a lot of animal products, it makes us more angry. And if we eat more plants, it makes us more calm and more peaceful. So I just kind of have to feel and believe that maybe that could be true. So that, I just wanted to add about the photon energy. I didn't know that. Now, health benefits. Now we're going to go into what I feel the top ones, and there's probably other ones. I haven't covered them all. But I'm going to mention, I mentioned diabetes and hypoglycemia first, because I want to talk about myself. I have had, since I was 20, quite bad hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. And a lot of people have low blood sugar, but it's just misdiagnosed. I'll say, for example, anybody that's an alcoholic, 9 times out of 10 has hypoglycemia. And usually people that stop drinking go to coffee and lots of white sugar. Why? Because they need that glucose, that sugar, right? Now, and this is the truth, I've been selling protein powders for 20 years. I've sold soya protein powders, whey protein powders. I've never taken them. And I've said that to people because they ask my opinion. Yeah, you know. But it's like I was waiting for something, and it was hemp. Now, I've been taking hemp consistently for about, well, say when I started in that company, so let's say 4 years, okay? And I really, really know my body. And I know having hypoglycemia, you know, I had to eat frequently and good quality protein, you know, the whole 9 yards. Now, I don't take the hemp every day, okay? Now that my body's used to it, I might take it once a week, twice a week, whatever. I just listen. But I mix the oil and the protein. Finally, about 6 months ago, I thought, why am I saying I have hypoglycemia? I don't have hypoglycemia anymore because I can actually eat something sweet and I feel fine. Whereas a few years ago, if I ate like an organic blueberry bar, I'd be like tired for an hour because my blood sugar would drop, right? And I have to believe that it's probably from the hemp because it's the one thing that I have been doing consistently, and I've had no problems with my blood sugar at all, okay? Why? Remember, when you're dealing with diabetes or hypoglycemia, the key two factors are good quality protein, because that stabilizes the blood sugar, okay? Number two, which actually I didn't put in there and it should be in there, is having good quality complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are your vegetables and fruits, but hemp also has a low glycemic index and it is a source of complex carbohydrates. Also, it has essential fatty acids, and most people, particularly with diabetes, have low essential fatty acids. They're not getting them in their diet. So if you put those together, to me it makes common sense that it's going to help with that condition. Now the next one down is depression, mental illness, low energy. Again, it's got a great source of the B vitamins. Again, your protein and your essential fatty acids. Now remember, your essential fatty acids, if you don't know, essential means they're essential to your body. Your body does not make those fats. You have to get it from your diet. That's why it's very important to get good, fats from things like hemp oil, it could be flax, seeds and nuts, avocados, okay? Because essential fatty acids are for your brain. Did you know your brain is 30 to 40% essential fatty acids? Most people are probably 15 to 20% or lower, okay? And why? Because we're eating a lot of hydrogenated fats, just a lot of bad fats. We're not getting the good fats anymore, particularly children. Okay, so when it comes to things like depression and mental illness, and especially, I didn't put in here, and again, see, I'm seeing all the things I should have added to this now that I'm going through it, is children with hyperactivity and ADHD. Actually, I do say it later on. Okay, cardiovascular health. Again, essential fatty acids, good for the heart. Remember, we also read in there about the plant sterols and also the different proteins in there. Okay, also the vitamin E. Vitamin E was developed by 2 Canadian cardiologists. Okay, vitamin E is very good for the heart. Anybody know with any heart conditions should be taking vitamin E. Anybody that needs a blood thinner, take vitamin E. It's better than taking aspirin, okay? Also, again, the phytosterols. The last one here we have for PMS and menopause, as I mentioned earlier, because of the GLA, the gamma-linolenic acid, helps with any mood swings, not just PMS and menopause, so of course. And then we have arthritis. Again, the green, because remember, when someone has arthritis, their body is very acidy. Now, I think I've said this, hemp is very alkaline. And if I hadn't, I'm going to say it because it's very important, because your body is supposed to be a balance of acid-alkaline, but a little bit more alkaline. Okay? So again, most people with arthritis are too acidic. So if they took a little bit of hemp every day or two, would help to balance that. Also, the chlorophyll, again, is in there. Essential fatty acids, again, they're good for the joints. Okay? I always think of it as a bike, and you put oil on it and it runs well, right? When you grease it up, it's like our joints too. That's where the essential fatty acids come in. They're very important. And again, the protein, as I mentioned, because it's alkaline. And there we go. I did mention about the hyperactivity and ADHD. So again, your EFAs, again, also the protein and the vitamins and minerals that are in there, okay? And the last one, but most important, is autoimmune diseases. So again, whether we're talking lupus, the different proteins that are in there too are very good at boosting up the immune system, okay? Yes, did you have a question?
I was just saying, isn't it also, like you talk about the photon energy, isn't that supposed to be good for protecting your skin from the sun? Like UV?
Yeah, see, now that could have been added there, yes, because actually taking hemp oil, it goes through penetrates the 7 layers of the skin and does act like a natural, what do you call it? SB, what's it called? Yeah, UV, whatever, that's right, yeah. I should have put that in there. And I will say something too, only because I had a woman come in, I've never met this customer before. She came in about a month ago and said that she had been quite sick and was taking a whole pile of different supplements and started taking hemp protein powder and oil. That was, I don't know, say a year ago, and doesn't take any supplements, just uses hemp. Now it's funny because I used to take a lot of different things, and pretty much now I do the hemp and I do royal jelly and maybe spirulina, but I don't do near as many supplements as I used to. Again, because you're getting so many things in the hemp too, right? How much to take, and that was your question, okay? So what I have discovered with myself and with my clients and customers using hemp for the past 4 years, this is how I find hemp works. Number one, what I teach people in my work is listen to your body. We all have to start doing that, okay? Because we've relied so much on doctors, right? But you need to listen to your body. Your body will tell you what you need. So what I found with the hemp protein is for the first month, take 1 to 2 tablespoons twice a day. Okay, so that could be a breakfast shake and maybe after dinner, okay? Add along with it the oil. Now, why do I say the protein in the oil? Because what I've discovered when we process the hemp, in the one machine where we're getting the oil and the cake, my thinking is let's put it back together. So it's like you're getting the whole thing. Now, it's not that I don't believe, because I really do believe in the nutritional value of the dehulled seeds, but I think from a nutritional standpoint, you're getting it all in there, the balanced protein and everything, right? So you put that in there, and also what I've actually only been doing recently is I've been adding a little bit of the nut because it makes it kind of frothier. I know it tastes really good. Do that for 1 month. Then after 1 month, cut it in half. So basically do 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. The 3rd month, listen to your body. Because I've found as the years have gone on, I can go a week or more and I don't even want it. And then all of a sudden I'll crave it and have it for a couple of days. Do you know what I mean? When I first started, I did do that, as I was told from someone else, why? It's to build the protein levels up in the body. Because a lot of people, you'd be surprised, are protein deficient. How you can tell is a lot of people that are overweight. They're craving a lot of simple carbohydrates, and when you're craving simple carbohydrates, it's because your protein levels are low. Once you bring the protein levels up, then the cravings for the simple carbs will dissipate. Absolutely, okay? I know I heard a story of a woman years ago who was a big meat eater and actually had a test on her protein, and her protein levels were quite low, even though she ate a lot of meat. This one went on hemp protein, actually went on no meat at all, just hemp protein for 6 months. And after 6 months, her protein levels were perfect. So again, it's just showing you how, and again, remember, as humans, and not that I actually am vegetarian, because I'm not vegetarian, I do eat wild meat and fish. But as humans, we really should be getting a lot of our nutrients from plants, right? Whether it's seeds or grains or, you know, things like this, okay? Again, with the nut, I recommend 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. And yes, you can sprinkle it on your salads, you can put it on yogurt, you can make hemp milk. People have even made coatings for like halibut. There's a big chef in Vancouver that's using a lot of hemp nut now, so that you can just play around with it, right? And it has a nice taste. And the seeds, again, as a snack, 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. So as far as, you know, your question about exactly how much, again, it's like our diet. This is a food, right? So listen to your body. Yeah, listen to your, I mean, you can do too much of a good thing, and I'm big on variety and moderation, okay? And which you'll see in my next slide here. Well, I did say it right here about hemp food is in an addition. So I'm not here to say, don't eat anything, no protein, just eat hemp. No, in addition to a healthy, balanced diet, remember, food is our medicine, and hemp can be an addition. And I just found this the other day from Hippocrates. A wise man ought to realize that health is a most valuable possession and learn how to treat his illnesses by his own judgment. Okay? So I think that is going to be it. I think my last slide is just a little bit about hemp for life. So thank you very much for coming.